Yesterday afternoon, the Twinsburg Fire Department responded to a smell of gas in the neighborhood. Upon their arrival, this was about 3:20 in the afternoon. When they arrived, they did smell the gas, called the gas company, and then backed away. Upon the arrival of the gas company, they were having a conversation. In that short amount of time, the house that you saw over there ignited and blew up through the intersection of these three streets. Fire, of course, in the main house, and then it extended out to either side. Debris, as you can see, is scattered through the neighborhood. We don't want a lot of people in the neighborhood because of the debris, the glass, the nails, everything that's laying all over the place. It's kind of an active scene still. There's investigations going on with the PUCO, and the State Fire Marshal's office is doing investigation on the fire itself. As you can see, there's workers that are still constantly moving in and out the neighborhood. We have volunteers from our CERT team. We have the fire departments. I think we had almost a dozen fire departments here yesterday. We've transported 2 people. Minor injuries considering the amount of damage that you see here. If you would be careful while you're walking around, there's things in the trees. There's a mattress up in a tree about 40 feet over there. There's damage not just controlled to this neighborhood, but on a street on either side, and sometimes 2 streets over. The concussion of the blast has taken out windows, siding, the soffits, some lights, doors. You see garage doors pushed in, and that was from the pressure from the blast. You guys have any questions for me?
Chief, can you give us an update on the conditions of the 2 people injured?
Minor injuries, and from what I was told this morning, they were treated and released, and that's all I've heard so far.
Are you surprised by not more people were injured?
Oh, absolutely. This is a miracle in itself. If you consider the 15 houses on this street, if you just consider 2 people per house, you're looking at 30 people right there. And who's home, who's not home? Everybody has 2 or 3 cars parked in parking lots and garages, and there's some public parking here. We don't know where anyone is. There's some people, there's reports of stories that they walked out of the house after the explosion, had no idea what happened. We were told a story of a gentleman that got blown out of his chair. And he got up and walked outside, and he walked down the street while we were evacuating. The police department, both Twinsburg City Police Department, the Sheriff's Department, and I think Hudson Police Departments were all here evacuating the neighborhoods to make sure that everyone was out of the house. The utilities, they came along and shut the gas off to every single house, as well as the main coming down the street. So this is going to take some time to get back up and running. Yes, sir.
Can you confirm for us, is it Unity who had the contractor out here?
You know, I don't know for sure. There were a lot of contractors here yesterday by the time I got here. So I know the big companies were here. Enbridge, of course, was overseeing a lot of things, and they were more than compliant with PUCO and the State Fire Marshal Office.
Chief, can you take us through the minutes between identifying that there was a problem? Was there evacuation between that and the explosion? What happened?
They had held people in place because the wind here was nothing. So the gas is a little heavier than air. It's not mixing well with any wind, and it's just kind of hanging. So they kept everybody in place, and that happened within 2 minutes of them arriving. I mean, 2 minutes of getting out of the vehicle. In fact, they were standing over here where the gentlemen are with the vests on, and that explosion happened. So 2 minutes in that amount of time.
Was there any life-saving action between identifying the problem or the problem occurring and the explosion happening?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
There was no notice about that. So it just needed to find an ignition source and have the oxygen level to be just perfect, and away it went.
Chief, was protocol followed in this particular case?
For which protocol?
For the gas leak and then how it was handled?
Absolutely. So they identified it. They isolated the area, and Enbridge, like I said, was here right away with their supervisor, identified the situation, and then it exploded.
Do you know what sparked?
No, have no idea. It could be anything from, big things. It could be a light switch. It could be a sump pump. It could be anything. And we may never know the source. So that's why the investigation is going to be ongoing for a long time. And it may be undetermined. There's so many sources, if you look around, of electricity. So.
Were the 2 injured members of the gas company?
No, they were residents or visitors in the neighborhood. I do not have ages, I'm sorry.
Could you put it into context? When's the last time that you've seen an explosion like this?
We see them on the news a lot, but not here. So that was a surprise.
There were some neighbors saying that they heard that one of the people injured was because somebody was driving when the explosion happened and it threw them off.
Oh, I have not heard that. I have not heard that. Yes, ma'am.
For the homes that are completely destroyed, was anybody home? Where were they? Have they been contacted?
So yes, as a matter of fact, the house that has the origin of with the most damage, they were in contact with the family right away. Somebody heard that they were out camping or away from the home. So, but we had to confirm that. So with the police department, the detective from Summit County Sheriff's Department, they did a lot of legwork in the background trying to verify where people were. Because after the explosion, we got everybody out of the neighborhood and we kept walking them in the direction where you guys came in.
I believe it was said yesterday that 811 had been called prior to them digging. Has that been confirmed?
I don't know that for sure, but I see a lot of flags and I see paint all over the place in the neighborhood. So that's what I know. I really can't confirm or deny what happened over there because it ended up being under a roof and part of a neighbor.
Do you know if the contractors called ahead of time that 811 number and verified where gas lines were?
You know, I don't know, but I can tell you that will come out in the investigation. So.
And who's in charge of that investigation?
PUCO and the State Fire Marshal's office. So they are all working together. Yes, ma'am.
So for the 1, 2, 3, nobody was home.
Nobody was, well, the one to the right. There was someone home to the house on the right. No one was home in the house in the center.
And I think a lot of people at home, that don't work in gas, want to know, how does something like this happen? I know it seems like a simple question, but breaking it down for our viewers.
No, that's
so
a
they can
great
understand.
question. Gas coming down the main, coming into this, it's like a lollipop here. So gas has to run around the outside of this little island. It runs at a higher pressure. When it gets off of that and goes down a line to, you'll see the meters on the side of the house, it goes from pounds to ounces. So that reduces it to a usable level for inside the house. So the loop and down the main is a higher pressure, obviously. So they have to maintain all these homes at the same time.
And then when there's a leak,
It depends on whether it's on the home side or whether it's on the supply side. If it's on the supply side, of course, somebody digs through the main, it's blowing up into the air. Out here may just be hissing. Yes, sir.
What are the next steps as far as securing this area and making it safe for residents?
That's a great question too. So we're working with all the utilities to make sure that these things are taken care of one at a time. We had to shut power off to the area. We had to shut gas off to the area. Those things have to be taken care of on a house by house, case by case instance. So we'll have people in here for several days. In this area, the cleanup, we have to get insurance companies in because they want to know what the blast radius was. They want to know what kind of damage was on the neighboring streets, the houses. As you look, I saw your camera zooming around the neighborhood. There's damage to almost all 15 homes just here. It could be something small, like up there's a vent up here that's missing, but then other places have the whole garage door blown out into the grass here. So those were not moved by machines. So that's going to take some time for all of them to work through that. Yes, sir.
Do you know of any other problems with this particular company or anything related to their working in the past?
No, actually I don't. There's a lot of, both in the city and the township, there's a lot of construction going on at all times. So, and I know their inspectors, they have inspectors for their own business, but then we have county inspectors down here in the township, we have city inspectors in the city, and they all work very well together. So I can only assume the permits were pulled properly and the companies are vetted properly. So that's what I know so far. Yes, ma'am.
I think the question here is also, what does accountability look like? If there is accountability, at the end of the day, 3 houses are destroyed, 15 houses are affected, many people are displaced.
Sure.
How do we ensure that wherever that mistake was, it's held accountable and ensure it doesn't happen again?
So a lot of those things are put in place from this investigation. Though it's going to be a very thick investigation, obviously. And then there'll be, that investigation will go further into whatever contractors were used or subcontractors or to find out exactly what happened.
Any timeline on an investigation?
Never. It's always under investigation and the cause right now is undetermined. I know that's not what you guys want to hear, but undetermined at this point.
You think weeks, months?
It's hard to say. State Fire Marshal, they do a very thorough job, and it can be up to a month or longer depending on the assessment of the damage area.
And Chief, can you
Yes, sir.
confirm, was it first like a big explosion and then subsequent explosions around? Or
From what I'm told, there was one explosion and it was originating from that house in that area between those two. and then it came across the street. Our crew, our engine crew, was sitting up the street waiting for orders. They had, they were going to come in, but they have the gas company here. So they pulled in right where you were all standing, and they started fighting the fire right away. So it was an explosion, fire, and attack right away. So there were crews already looking. Neighbors, the neighbors here in this neighborhood are fantastic. They watch out for one another. In fact, the neighbors on outlying streets came to see if they could help as well. And they were shooed away by the police because they're trying to get everybody out of the area.
I know you mentioned in the statement,
Yes, sir.
a lot of people want to come look at this. What's the message to other areas?
Stay away. So we've had some people try to jump fences and kind of sneak through the backyards. There is no reason to be here. There's plenty of drone footage out there. You guys are providing great camera footage today, and thank you for being where we got you. It's safe for now, so we want to make sure you guys are getting the information you need. But the encouragement is stay away. They don't need to be here.
Where can residents reach out if they have questions, need help? A lot of people are displaced, obviously, you see the Red Cross is here.
Yeah, so Red Cross has been a good resource especially for long-term stay. Insurance companies are great. A lot of these places, you'll see places that are boarded up. They were taken care of last night by their insurance companies. They just said, go ahead and board it up, and we'll put you up for the night in a hotel. And they've worked through Red Cross that way too. Last night we had our CERT members were escorting families up here so that we could maintain their safety and accountability up here, so that people aren't wandering in and out of homes. The Sheriff's Department, Summit County Sheriff's Department, was up here last night into this morning, making sure the scene remains safe. So, thank you, Chief. Yeah. What else can I do for you? No more questions?